The new phone that crushed the iPhone 13 Pro. There really is a phone that can beat the iPhone 13 Pro, which will make you all hooked up with interest to know more. Apple was beaten by an Android, the Vivo X80 Pro. Be prepared to witness the similarities and differences between these two, as well as why we should choose one over the other. Hello folks, and welcome back to Tech World. Today we'll talk about the one and only phone that was able to dethrone the iPhone 13 Pro's market dominance. Don't leave until you've heard everything we have to say. So let's get to it without much ado. What is the Vivo X80 Pro? So now that you know about this mighty Vivo X80 Pro, who is the black horse who beats the mighty iPhone 13 Pro, shall we dig deeper and know the real deal? The X70 Pro and X70 Pro Plus were Vivo's earlier centerpiece offerings in India. The replacement for these models has now been released, but with a slight variation in the series naming. The new Vivo X80 replaces the X70 Pro, and our initial thoughts on it can be found right here. The Vivo X80 Pro, on the other hand, is the X70 Pro X's successor, and has been introduced at the same price. This new Vivo flagship model competes with other high-end Android devices currently available, such as the OnePlus 10 Pro, Samsung Galaxy S22 Plus, and iPhone 13. Talking about the Vivo X80 Pro's overall design, it certainly appears very comparable to the X70 Pro Plus from the front, but it is very unique from the back. The rear camera module has become a massive rectangular block that occupies roughly 1/3 of the back panel. When put on a flat surface, the phone doesn't really wobble because it is sized and doesn't extend much. The curved sides on the phone's glass panels on the front and back make it convenient to hold. And the matte finish rear panel, made of fluorite AG glass, doesn't really attract fingerprints. All in all, the phone feels and looks quite premium to me. Since I've been saying that this is the ultimate opponent of the iPhone 13 Pro, let's do a little comparison of the specs. Are you ready? Display. Just like when we're talking about other phones, let's start with their displays. The screen size of the Vivo X80 Pro Plus 5G is 6.78 inches, which is larger than the 6.7-inch screen of the Apple iPhone 13 Pro Max 1TB. The Vivo X80 Pro Plus 5G has a screen. Vivo has a display density of 517 ppi, and Apple has only a 458 ppi display density. Apple iPhone 13 Pro Max 1TB has a 19.5:9 aspect ratio, whereas the Vivo X80 Pro Plus 5G has a 20:9 aspect ratio. They really do move really close together, don't they? Design. Moving on, let's see if their designs have a huge difference. Vivo has a height of 6.48 inches and a width of 2.96 inches, while Apple has a height of 5.78 inches and a width of 2.81 inches, which we can say isn't so far apart from each other. They both weigh around 219 and 204 grams respectively. Moreover, both phones have waterproof functionality, and both their frames are made of metal. When talking about the colors they would have, both the companies decided to go with black and blue, with the iPhone having an addition of gold and silver, and Vivo with orange. But only Vivo presents you with a fingerprint scanner on the display. Performance. One of the most important specs to consider is the performance of the phone you're interested in. So what have we got here? Let me make a small change and first talk about Vivo and then jump into Apple. So Vivo got a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chipset with up to 8 CPU cores, 1 plus 3 plus 4 combination, which translates to 4 cores at 1.8 GHz, 3 cores at 2.5 GHz, and 1 core at 3 GHz. It also has an L3 cache and a 4nm lithography processor. Vivo entered the graphics market with an Adreno 730. On the other hand, the iPhone 13 Pro got an Apple A15 Bionic chipset and a CPU core of 6, 2 plus 4 combo. which expands into 4 cores at 1.82 GHz and 2 cores at 3.223 GHz. While it doesn't possess an L3 cache, its lithography process has increased to 5 nanometers from the 4 in Vivo. Besides, as usual, Apple got its graphics from an Apple GPU. Basically, this is what you need to know about performance before we move on to the topic of memory and storage. Memory and storage. Firstly, when talking about the Vivo X80 Pro Plus's memory, it has 5G's larger 12GB RAM, which is better for playing games, and all with respect to Apple iPhone 13 Pro 1TB lower 6GB RAM. The iPhone 13 Pro 1TB has more internal memory than the Vivo X80 Pro Plus 5GB 256GB. Both of the devices have a memory card slot. For the most important part for any user, the storage, we can see that both offer you 256 and 512GB, but Apple offers you a bit more with 128 and 1TB variations as well. While Vivo has storage type of UFS 3.1, Apple presents you with the type NVMe. So guys, what else are you interested in knowing about? Leave a comment down below for me. Since you know all these important facts, let me tell you about their camera qualities, software, battery life, and network comparisons. Camera. Here I tell you that the Vivo X80 Pro Plus 5G's 50MP quad rear camera outshines Apple iPhone 13 Pro Max's 12MP triple rear camera in terms of resolution. If you want to take a lot of selfies, the Vivo X80 Pro Plus 5G is a better choice because it is a better 32MP front camera than the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Software. And if I'm telling you about the software on each of the phones, I can tell you that Vivo has the Android 12 OS and a ROM of Function OS 12. But the Apple iPhone 13 Pro offers you an OS like iOS 15, which can be updated to iOS 15.2 and a ROM of 15.4. Battery. Here we are with another important component to know about if we ever buy a new phone: battery performance and battery life. If I start with the Vivo X80 Pro, it has a capacity of 4,700 mAh and a charge power of 80 watts for a LiPo battery, while the iPhone 13 Pro has a Li-ion battery with a capacity of 3,095 mAh and a charge power of 20 watts, which is rather poor compared with the Vivo. Meanwhile, both the phone batteries cannot be replaced but can be charged wirelessly and faster. But only Vivo can be charged reversely. All in all, the X80 Pro only takes 0.39 hours to fully charge, while the iPhone takes around 1.5 hours. Network. The last spec we're going to talk about today is network. I mean, regardless of which phone we own, we need to know about the network conditions they provide, right? So let's slide to that point, shall we? To tell you guys the truth, unlike previous specs, this has so many similarities between the X80 Pro and the 13 Pro. Both the SIM cards should be nano and both have a hybrid slot as well as 5G support. On the other hand, only Vivo can be inserted with 2 SIMs and could have a standby multi-SIM mode, but Apple only has eSIM support so far. So I hope you guys got a good picture of both the Vivo X80 Pro and the iPhone 13 Pro. Since you have an idea, let's see if the Vivo X80 Pro can crush the tech giant of smartphones, the iPhone 13 Pro. Why should I consider? As usual, let me talk about the dark horse, the Vivo X80 Pro. It has a larger battery capacity of 1,605 mAh, 4,700 mAh versus 3,095 mAh, and a 0.68-inch larger screen. The optical zoom on the rear camera is 5x, and the phone has the Bluetooth version of 2.0 v5.2 as well. This also has a fingerprint reader, an infrared port built in, and 2 SIM card slots, which can be very important to businessmen who have to use a work SIM and a personal one. It employs a faster type of memory, LPDDR5. It got a 12% increment in pixel density, 517 versus 460 ppi. And as far as the iPhone 13 Pro, it shows a 36% longer battery life, 36 to 56 versus 27 to 13 hours, and is 45% faster in the single-core Geekbench 5 test. Apple releases software updates and supports their phones a few years longer than Vivo, and is ready for eSIM technology, unlike Vivo. That's all for today's video, everyone. Thank you for sticking with me until the end. I hope you liked it. What are your thoughts on the Black Horse, the Vivo X80 Pro, who did crush the Apple iPhone 13 Pro with its amazing specs and functionalities? Let me know in the comments below, and please feel at ease in leaving any of your thoughts, suggestions, or remarks in the comments box. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a good day. Until next time, adios amigos.